Hi, it's Casper the Friendly Ghost. I'm Brent Hazard, shining like a tree up in here. As for the Brent and Malcolm Show, as always, we are honored to have Mr. Wilford Beal. Mr. Beal.
Hello. Glad to be here.
You in the wrong space today, Mr. Beal, but I'm glad you're here.
I know.
But welcoming for the first time on the show is the legend himself, Albert Batman Donaldson. Welcome to the show, Mr. Donaldson.
How you doing, man?
I'm just hoping I can get through the next hour okay.
Y'all can deal with us?
But anyway, for those who do not know, but the majority, well, let me ask you, Mr. Bill, do you know who Batman is?
No, I just met him today, and he gave me his legend.
Okay, did you? Go ahead.
You probably missed it.
Okay, for those who do not know Batman, where do you call home? Where are you from?
I'm from Wood Street.
Okay,
in
Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. Middle school?
Middle school, Rowan.
Okay. High school?
Wingfield.
Okay.
College now, don't forget that part.
A college?
Hines County.
Okay.
Hines Community College.
How many hours?
I did a whole year.
Okay.
And then I dropped out.
What was your just basics or did you declare?
Business management.
Okay. I'm trying to get there. Okay, I'll tell you how I knew you. When I came to Jackson in 2002, 2003, was Melton in office at that time or not?
2000, yeah, he was in office.
Okay. All of a sudden, people were saying, or Melton was it just Melton? Was other people saying you were the head crime lord of Jackson?
No, it was just Milton.
Okay. Am I exaggerating anything to say that?
No, you're not exaggerating.
Okay. Do you believe that's a fair assessment?
No.
By Melton?
No. How would I believe something and it's against me and I'm for what I stand for?
No, I understand that.
I might want to make him right. I don't want to make him right.
Okay.
He wasn't right.
When you first heard, okay, now, for those who do not know, and I don't think anybody doesn't know you, and by the way, what time does your show come on WNPR?
It come on every Wednesday at 9 in the morning. It's called Chance and Choice, for the people, by the people.
Okay, and what we're gonna get to is his life, but Mr. Beal, for you, to help you out of here, Batman has been incarcerated for some sins of the past, and has come out a changed man. Is that fair to say?
Well, from your point of view, right?
Okay.
The way you say it sound kind of like, I pay for my sins.
That's what I said.
Listen, but I'm gonna tell you something else.
Okay.
With that, everybody pay for their sins.
Totally, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? It just ain't just like a microscope that I went to prison. It ain't like I'm gonna be the only black man or the only white man to go to prison.
Once again,
get out of prison. I change their life.
I just want to make sure he don't run away until we get to the whole story.
Right.
Okay, so you are affiliated. Are we comfortable saying the affiliation or not?
Affiliated with what?
With a certain organization.
What organization is that?
I know it, but I'm just making
I want to hear what organization you call. I'm going to tell you what organization it is.
I heard, when I was reading the papers, you were affiliated with the Wood Street Gang, which is an affiliation of vice lords, was it not?
Wood Street Gang was never even an organization.
Okay.
That was a quote made by an individual.
A fiction.
Yeah, it was a fiction.
Okay.
And it was made to cast shadow over whatever he was doing.
Are you talking about Milton?
I'm talking about Milton.
Okay.
See, when I say war words on my show, I want people to understand when I say war words, these are war words.
Okay.
When people use words for tools, they use them to exact what they trying to say and exempt what they trying to put out. And that's not true. So I can't side with you and say, okay, that's a good no.
No. I want your point of view, because we've never had this conversation. When you first saw the mayor talk about you, I saw it in the Clarion Ledger. What did you see about it?
The mayor?
The mayor.
The first time I seen the mayor, I had just got out on bond on an aggravated assault that I didn't do.
No, I'm talking about when he said your name in the paper. Was this the first time he said your name?
I'm getting to you.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I got out on the bond, aggravated assault, and I was talking to another guy that was coming to a concert that I was doing that had a gun.
Okay.
As I was talking, I walked into my front room where a little spot I used to be. We call them trap spots.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I ain't never been no saint. I ain't never claimed to be one.
Okay.
Although people had it in the shadow, I ain't never did. I always lived in the light.
Okay.
So at them points, I went in there. I saw Frank on TV talking about what is our Batman Dunson doing out on bond.
No, the first time you.
That was the first time, and that was a nightmare.
What year?
That was 1999, going in 2000.
Okay. So what was your response? Now, what was he at the time? Was he running for something?
He was a news executive.
At WLBT?
He had shares in WLBT.
So you're sitting there. Had you been convicted for anything at that point? You said you just got out for something you did not do, correct?
Right, aggravated assault.
But you were convicted for ag, right?
No.
Did you plead?
No.
So what? Not guilty?
Talking aggravated assault?
Yeah. Were you coming or going? What you said you were coming out?
I was out on bond.
Okay. They arrested for aggravated assault. Who arrested you, Hines or JPD?
JPD.
Who was head of JPD at the time? You remember?
I don't recall.
And that was before my time.
Yeah,
that was before my time. So at this time, you and I have had some of this conversation. Would you consider yourself a major player in the city of Jackson in '99?
In '99. Through the 90s, I'll be honest with you. I always talk on my show. When I talk on my show, I would tell the person that I ain't no saint. So I know how it go in the streets.
Yeah.
I'm privileged to live both sides. I'm privileged to change and see what's going on this side and know what I've been to. So, yeah, I was a player.
Okay.
A major player.
So when the mayor called you out, were there people of equal power for less than... Do you feel like why am I being isolated when I know Wilford Bill's down here doing this and T-Bone's over here and Bobby's over here? Do you feel like you were being unfairly isolated, or did you ever wonder how he found out your name?
Well, knowing Frank, I knew Frank when I was 12 or 13 years old.
Okay. How did
he was doing I was in training school at that time. I was locked up.
Okay.
In Columbia training school. He was coming down there teaching kids how to swim pools and all that. I never talked to him personally, but I knew of him.
This was Oakland?
It was Columbia.
Where's that?
Columbia Training School. It's in Columbia, Mississippi.
Where's Columbia? Is that Marion?
It's it shouldn't be no more. Probably about 45 minutes to an hour from here.
Okay. What were you? Well, you might not want to say because your youth court, all of your youth court records are sealed. But
I don't mind talking about me.
What was?
I love talking about me.
What were you down there
breaking
for?
it everything I could break it.
Okay. So you met Frank down there. Did you have a good experience with Frank?
I never met Frank. I just saw him. He was out there swimming with all the kids, teaching them how to swim. I was over there swimming with my buddies and having fun in the pool. So I always was to the side looking.
Now this is Brent Hazard saying this.
Right.
Okay. You can agree or disagree.
Okay.
Okay. You might not know this. I was involved, and I can't talk about youth court, so I'm not. Those are sealed. I was involved with Mayor Melton in a couple cases where it seemed like he had gotten involved with young teenage boys' lives and then would abandon them when they hit puberty.
I would agree. Now, I would agree on that part because everybody knows the story. Everybody heard the story. If it hadn't been a rumor that you heard about this, you have seen this. And this is something that I fight about. I was fighting about this before I went to prison this last time. Okay. I was doing podcasts. I was on many podcasts with preachers and everything, just really letting them know that you don't isolate the kids you mess with, whether it be a woman, a girl, or a boy, female or male. You're supposed to be able to understand what's going on. This is a kid. You see, like I got a granddaughter, so I wouldn't want my son to feel like I do something to my granddaughter because I'm gonna treat her like I treat my daughter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when it came up with me, the people I'm talking about was 18 and done some horrific acts, and they would say, the reason I'm so angry is Frank Melton.
I wouldn't doubt they said it because Frank did a lot of stuff he shouldn't have did. You know, I'm one that always, from people that ever heard me talk about Frank, I never said what we talking about. So they're getting a piece of.
Oh, no, this is me.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not saying it's true, but I know 2 separate occasions they would say, I'm either being victimized or I'm like I am.
And they getting a peek into the book.
Yeah.
So the book can tell you the whole thing.
Okay,
everything
what
about
book?
me.
What book?
The Batman book.
Okay, are you writing currently a book?
Writing a
Okay.
book.
So we don't want to give everything away here, but when is the book coming out?
That should come out by December.
Okay, but basically,
1st of December.
it seemed to me, from a white boy moving here from Tupelo, Greenville via Tupelo, that there was actually a war between Frank Melton and you. Is that what it perceived to you at the time?
Because it couldn't be on war because he's working in, he's a city official. Now, let me scare you back a little bit.
Okay.
He was a news executive. He was a
WLBT.
news executive to NBN.
Okay, he
with
was
no law
appointed-
enforcement experience. Oh, well, people have been in law enforcement 40 or 50 years that's supposed to have this position, that know how to work this position. So when you talk about Frank moving from the position, you got to know that he was here when he talked about Batman. When he started with Batman, he went here and charged Batman. I didn't charge Batman. He went here to get it sealed in, and it didn't work. I said that to say this. You know why I'm smiling, down the bread.
I'm
You know why I'm smiling. I'm gonna have to say this. Don't mess with God's child. Real. That's real. I done walked through the fire, seen it. I done been in cars where they shot at cars, and I'm right there looking, and never bullet hit me. Don't mess with God's child. That's another list for me. I learned that they put me in the position I'm in now to be able to talk, to be certified to say what I'm saying.
Okay. Now, did you ever had a conversation with Melton during all this? And how long did this go
I
on?
did.
How long did this go on? Are we talking
Frank.
years? Or are we talking, because what you're
Yeah.
talking about, who appointed the MBN? Was that Musgrove?
Musgrove appointed Frank to NBN. He was going out of office.
I
Can you
heard.
tell me why Musgrove did that? Why would you think he
I
did
was to
that?
say, I heard there might have been a donation made.
Ooh, see?
I mean, did you?
Now we get to the truth.
I heard there was a big donation.
Truth.
Well,
truth.
let me say this. Let me say this.
Truth.
I'm not alleging anything happened or erroneously or illegally happened. There's a rumor going around about a governor
Truth.
who said he went to someone's house, maybe in North Mississippi, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to toast to our new Supreme Court justice." And this person I had worked with a little bit, I kind of knew, and they said X is going to be the new Supreme Court justice. And they might have been, it wasn't quid pro quo, but it was a supporter of Musgrove. Because
Right.
as long as I'm a supporter, it's not illegal. If I say, Mr. Bill, if you appoint me to that office, I'll give you $50,000, that's illegal. But if I'm a supporter, but supposedly the governor toasted someone in his house with his friends, drove down to Jackson and announced another name. So supposedly Musgrove was a very political animal who, if he felt like you could advance him legally, he would advance you, and that's what I heard was the reason that a non-law enforcement officer became head of NBN.
Well, from your aspect, the way you heard it, I heard it that way because we don't do two different spectrums of the globe.
Yes.
Right? So, like, Frank had money, you know, and a lot of people knew he had money. And he dispersed his money like he wanted to disperse his money. And a lot of people turned eyes and here's what he was doing. And that was a problem. You had a whole conglomerate of these people doing it. You had people that was working in these offices and all in these places that deal with kids like that. That's my main thing about dealing with situation and coming through these situations, saying that that you want people that you can trust your kid around. You don't want people handling your kid, even if you have said, okay, Frank, you can have my kid. I ain't say you can have my kid, like have him.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting phrase you use, is have your kids, because once again, in these situations I did my own investigation on, and during Katrina, people would literally sign their kids over to Melton. For the two cases I saw, once again, criminal, not youth court. I saw documentation at $2,000. And you're sitting there like, what? And the mayor on some occasion may or may not have presented documentation saying, I'm the guardian. I'm like, that's not worth anything. It was bizarre. I mean, could you agree with me? It was just weird.
It's weird anytime one man can walk into a city, and he's from Texas. I don't know if it's Houston. I mean, Houston or Dallas, Texas.
One of the Texas.
He come from here.
Yeah.
He come from here with everybody already know money for to even be in the position he was in at WWT. He had shares in that position, and he gave his shares away, all his money away to go do this. The reason he did that because he was a person that believed in his word. Now I can respect the man believing his word. He went down with his word. See, and people got to understand what he meant. Now, although it was bad, I got a positive position out of it. He made me start looking at life. See, he took shortcuts that other people didn't take. You see, and that got to me. So that made me think in times like, okay, I could be thrown away the rest of my life. I could be here. I could be here. I done got away from shootouts. I done had shootouts. I can't even count how many shootouts I done had. See, so when Frank did what he did, I didn't look at the bad part. I didn't focus on the bad part. I focused on me, what it was doing to get my attention, what it did to make me say, okay, enough is enough.
Now, eventually you were arrested and convicted for ag assault, is that correct?
I went to try, aggravated assault. Okay. I was arrested and convicted, well, I wasn't convicted for robbery. Okay. But I was convicted for aggravated assault.
How long did you serve in Parchman? Was it Parchman?
No, that was this last time. It was. I went to Greene County. I went from Rankin County to Greene County, from Greene County to Fayette, Mississippi, and I served my duration in Fayette, Mississippi.
Fayette. Okay. Now let me ask you this: in Rankin, were you in the county or were you in the state? Were you
I was
Holden?
in the state.
Okay. How hard is it, or how hard was the time in Rankin County State, 1 to 10?
Well, when you come out of the county, it's a whole nother level.
Okay. How so? I've gone to prison. I've gone to jails. I've never gone to prisons as a public defender or court-appointed attorney. Tell me what would people who watch TV or the normal citizen want to know about the difference? Well, just start with county. Hinds County Detention Center. When were you in there?
Hinds County Detention Center. When wasn't I in there?
Okay. Well,
let's talk about that part.
What year?
So. I just go to the last time I was in there. I was in there from 99. I come back. I was in there from 99 to about 2002. Then they sent me out. I went to Madison County, came back. So I was in county jail pretty frequently.
Hinds County Jail at 99, 2002. How bad was it? Or was it that bad? Is it overhyped? What do people?
County jail is made to stress people out.
How so?
You have innocent people in jail right now. I'll take a plea just to get out of there. Because it's so disrupted, it's so corrupt, it's so messed up. Things happen. People come to work with an attitude with people that kill people. That should tell you something. And these people tend to listen to guards. They listen to the CO or what they tell them to do. But when it starts seeming like it's off stage what you supposed to be doing, then it get a little vague and everything get disrupted. So like being in a county jail, you don't have a structure like that. But when you go to Rankin County, that's when your structure start.
Now is that state or county?
County is county.
Did you go to Rankin County or did you go to
Rankin County is state.
State. Okay.
I ain't talking about the jail. I'm talking about the prison.
So you were in the what we'd call Parchman, just you were not at Parchman.
You gotta go, when you go to Rankin County, to get your hair cut, you get your blood work, you get all that done.
Okay.
I think we the only state really do all that.
Okay.
Really. They take your blood, they make sure everything right. Whatever you got, they finna know.
So they can't put you cannot be contaminating other people.
Right.
So 1 to 10 Hinds County, how hard was it 1 to 10? Time.
1 to 10 back then.
Were people popping doors off jail cells back then?
I don't know, because they had me in a paper cell on the floor.
Paper cell?
Yeah, with the window papered up. you know, when you first come in jail.
Yeah.
And you see that room they have for the whole
To the left.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the whole room.
Yeah.
I stayed in one of the rooms 3 years
By yourself.
by myself.
Why?
Under order Frank Minton, with the sheriff then Sheriff McMillan. My window was papered up.
So you were
And I had
nice.
per order. Nobody talked to me but the sheriff. Nobody feed me but the sheriff. That's who fed me.
McMillan.
Yeah, and then it started dropping. The levels started dropping. Where he'll let the major no CO feed me, but the major had to come feed me personally.
What was the justification? I mean, for those who do not know, and correct me if I'm wrong, the hardest time is isolated time.
Okay.
Because you don't get this. You don't get we're social creatures.
And I'm a social creature.
Yeah, I can
So
verify.
I guess by being in that situation, that's how he figured it. But in that situation, I went to a time of praying and talking to God. So in that position right there.
What was the reasoning to put you in isolation?
Well, at that point, he had said that he had made a statement that I supposed to make a call from prison, from jail. So they locked me down.
Now, when you say a call, you're not talking about a phone call. You're talking about directed a criminal activity.
Criminal activity, right.
Okay. We're gonna take a break right now. We owe you guys a break. We're gonna come back and get more of the Batman story.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippilink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back, Brent Hazard, Wilford Bill, and Batman Donaldson. But before we get back to Batman's story, please remember that Malcolm Johnson is running for District 5 Supervisor on August 8th. Keep him in mind. Not only is he a great co-host, I think he'll make personally a great supervisor. But we're going to get to this. But I just want to hammer down some details that I don't know about Batman. Now that I have him as a show, we're going to start bringing Batman on periodically. So they isolated you.
Right.
Is this the charge you ultimately convicted of?
No, I was charged when they isolated me. I was charged with. At that time, I was charged. Aggravated assault.
Now
was aggravated assault.
The paperwork I saw, or the news report, or someone, and it might have been Melton, someone was saying you were responsible for 7 to 8 murders, not 78. Did you hear that, or did you see that?
Killer did, wasn't it?
One of my ex-clients said, I love how I'm a hitman. I can't throw out garbage. They got me on everybody that they can find. What was your response when you saw that in the news that you were responsible?
I saw that before everybody else saw it. I don't think everybody else paid attention to it.
Okay.
But Frank was a news executive over at WLBT. Frank said that. Frank said it on TV on the bottom line. Our Batman Dunn, you haven't got away from me. I had just got convicted felon with a firearm.
Okay.
They gave me 63 months. I was sitting in front of them waiting to get shipped out to wherever I'm going to do my time or whatever. And here comes Frank on TV with the bottom line. Everybody running to see the bottom line. That was the hottest thing on there.
What year was this?
Probably 2002.
Okay. And usually, correct me if I'm wrong, once you've been convicted, whatever kind of around you, you're all, you're going to go do your time. You move to the back of the line because, they've got a conviction. There's other pending cases. So they don't go after every charge because they've got a conviction. And as a prosecutor, it's like next. So to see someone on WLBT when you just got convicted still talking about you, what was your opinion? What was it going through your mind?
Well, first of all, I didn't have no other charges.
Okay.
See, I was doing one charge.
Okay.
And then when I heard Frank talk, I said, he said, Albert Donis is he implicated in 8, 9 murders around here. And I'm gonna make sure that he be charged with this. I said, implicated. I ain't never been talked to about a murder. So for him to say I knew it was a war of words, I knew exactly what he was doing. So I was like, okay, let me call my lawyer. Because there might be something to this. At that time,
Who was your lawyer at the time?
My lawyer was Sanford Knotts.
Okay.
So I called Sanford. I said, Sanford, what is Frank talking about? He said, he's just blowing a lot of hot air. Don't worry about it. But some in me said, worry. Some in me said, worry.
Well, once again, I'm not saying you didn't have any charges, but like whether once people get convicted, it doesn't matter if it happened last week or 6 years ago, they're going to serve time. They usually move off the top of the paper.
I never moved off the top of the paper.
Okay.
And on his file.
Okay.
They shipped me off. I went on to do 3 months.
No, you went to Rankin and then where?
I ain't go to Rankin then. When Frank was at me then, and the thing happened with Frank, I went federal.
Oh. Okay, so Yazoo?
I went from Madison to Grenada, from Grenada to Oklahoma, from Oklahoma
Okay, stop there. Oklahoma, what kind of security?
I was in the high school, United States prison.
No, I know that, but what
That's high.
High security.
That's high.
Okay.
Yeah.
How? 1 to 10?
It's behind the gate. That's behind the wall. You can't see nothing.
Okay. How hard was that time? 1 to 10. And federal security, maximum security? Wasn't super max? They didn't have super.
No, I wasn't super max, but that was high for us being behind the wall. You can't see people because you got lows, mediums, and highs. Yeah. So lows is the people that don't have
white collar
gates.
Yeah. Well,
they able to go and work in society, but they got to come back to this place.
The one I know about is in Pensacola. That's where white collar crimes around here goes. Pensacola.
Right. They have different federal got prisons all over America. So like medium, you'll have a gate. But you can see them back there, in the gate, whatever, and they still go out and work. A high, it's a wall, gate. You can't see through. You can't see through.
No
the wall.
one's coming and going.
You never see. You just see the people walk out.
Yeah.
See, so I was in the high.
Okay. So how hard was that time? 1 to 10.
Well, federal. I would tell people that if you in a low camp that they let you go out and work, that's cool. But if you go to the United States Penitentiary, you're finna understand what prison is about. I have been to the state prison twice. Yeah, twice. So
which one's harder, fed or state?
Listen to me. High, not lows, not mediums. If you go to a United States Federal Penitentiary, you're gonna figure out what prisons are like, and it's worse than your local prison. It's worse than the government prison.
Okay.
It's worse than your state prison.
So it goes county jail, state penitentiary, high risk.
You go county jail, state penitentiary. Okay, you catch a federal charge, you going to the federal.
No, I know that. I'm talking about, but ranking in toughness or hard time. Fed high is the top. Then it goes state penitentiary. Then it goes county jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much basically, yeah, like that.
Okay. Now, where were you when you had your enlightenment that you were going to put this behind you and that you were going to change your ways? Because I mean, most of the time, the reason Batman's on the show, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we met at WNPR, and I do believe he's truly trying to change his ways, and you're trying to help people get out of the criminal life. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
Because a lot of people have gone through what you've gone through, which still be in that life, or think they're too late. I mean, I'm 50, and I told someone the other day, they said something about getting out of the practice of law. At some point, you're just pot committed. I mean, this is the road I've traveled. What was there? One event? Was it just being in jail or prison for so long? What was the one event where you said, I've got to change?
I can't lie. One event. It was several events.
Okay.
God didn't stop. He didn't stop at one event. He kept events in front of me to let me see that, hey, this ain't no man where you're doing this. This ain't man-made. If you can sit in the car, people shoot in your car, and you don't get hit. Your car don't get hit, and you looking down the barrel of the gun, something's right. Something you got to say, you got to take a stop and look now.
Okay.
And so, I was the one that always bullheaded. If I said something, if I thought a certain way, I believe it a certain way, then I'm gonna go with what I believe in. As many people do, but it is a higher power when people know that I'm not a person that go to you say I don't want to go. I'm a Christian. I don't want to go to church. No, I've been to church. I go to church, but I'm a man. Before I'm anything, I'm a man with a testimony. I don't doubt preachers. I don't go, but I can talk to God. I don't need no middleman. He been talking to me the whole time. If I need a middleman, then I'd have been up in there talking about I need a confession and do all the other stuff. So it's a difference.
Now let me ask you this. Looking back on it, living that life, what percentage of you choosing to go down that path was environment? What percentage was your choice? And, well, just answer that question for me.
I ain't gonna even lie. When I say several occasions, you know, everybody's stomach fall a lot of times, and they don't really say that. Before people get rich, they'll have unsuccessful stories. You don't know about success if you don't understand being not successful. You see, you don't know about good if you understand bad. So, like, it was several situations that happened in my life, of course my life, that made me turn. I wasn't just turning like about faith. People look at it like I just turned about faith, but it didn't happen like that. This happened over the years of going through stuff, and I was being able to sit down in a seal somewhere, in a safe place, and think I could be dead, I could be anywhere other than here. People think that's a bad place to be. No, some of us need to be in there.
Do you believe the current prison system, and I want to get Mr. Bill's opinion on this, do you believe the current prison system is the way it should be to fight crime and reduce crime, or do you think it needs to be improved, and if so, how?
It need to be improved.
How so?
It's inhumane. You need to, I lived in prison for years, and I made it through prison because I knew how to adapt and evolve, but I've lived through some rural conditions. I lived through rain coming through the ceilings, and you can't complain to nobody. You can't go out there and talk to a landlord about that. So, like, the humane, the food, the clothes, the way you treat them. You know, I've been there, I did that. If I wouldn't have been the person I was when I was 18 and when I came in I was 25, I saw the difference. When I was 18, get your over there and sit down and get in line. But when I came back in and I was at the height of my moment in the streets, how you doing? You need to do this, you need to do that. The reason why this occurs all the time, you don't pay the people enough.
So there's corruption in there because we don't want to pay the guards enough.
You don't pay the people enough. If you pay the people, they wouldn't do half stuff they do.
But because they're making $25,000 a year or something like that.
And you want them to put their life on the line. You got to understand, you putting a citizen in there with murderers, rapists, killers, everything, robbers, everything, every criminal aspect that you just did. You just put a person there that's taking a regular job. That's not a regular job. Who told them that was a regular job? You dealing with people every day, men every day, that'll cut your throat. That's real.
Mr. Bill, do you feel like the current prison system needs to be changed, and if so, how? And let me ask you this, I don't know this. What is your history of incarceration, either with you directly? Have you ever been convicted, sir?
Thank God, no.
Have you ever had any family members convicted?
On the in-law side.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you change, or do you feel like the current prison system needs to change?
Okay. I can only go with what I've heard in conversations like with Batman, where they talk about the shortcomings. And those shortcomings are there. I can understand that we can improve on some of those things now. Because, as he said, they are murderers, rapists. The system have a tendency to treat them as though once they are convicted, that it matters not what their environment is, other than keeping them in.
I will say this as a prosecutor, but someone, if somebody in my immediate family was either killed or raped, it would be very hard for me to rise above that and to say, look at the bigger picture. But the issue I have with prison systems now, you're getting a skill set that does not translate into the modern world. So if you're doing 15 years, well, I do believe there has to be to me, you always have to have the carrot and the stick. And if the carrot is one, and I've met this since I've been prosecuting, prisoners, and disagree with me if you want, Mr. Donaldson, prisoners develop a habit of trying to kill time because that's the number one thing they're trying to do.
True.
There's not enough to do in prison. And to me, if we're going to bring them back to our society, it's naive to think that it's just like with a soldier. You can't come back from Vietnam and say, well, go sell cars. You know what I mean? That's just not realistic. You got PTSD. You've been over there learning how to, a couple of friends of mine came back from Afghanistan, and they would be texting me on Yahoo Messenger at the time. We're about to go get in a Jeep and look for, for insurgents or whatever they called them over there. And then like 30 days later, they're over here in court. And you're like, how does that work? And we've got to understand how humanity works. If we're going to have a release date for someone we've sentenced, we've got to prepare them to succeed on that release date, or we have to give them a life sentence. Because, when you're basically doing that to a certain degree by not saying, and to me, you can either go to therapy over here, you can go to rehab over here, you can go to school and get your GED over here, and I know a lot of it's not there because of funding, or you can go pound rocks for 60 hours. I don't care what choice you make, but I want to give someone the carrot to try to help to improve themselves, because I just don't want people in prison, not because whether it's immoral, which I think it is to a certain degree, whether it's setting them up to fail, which I think it is to a certain degree. We can't afford it. It costs $40,000. What people don't understand, and I'm sure you've seen this, Bat, you don't know how many people I've had hearings for as a prosecutor because the Hinds County didn't want to pay for kidney issues, or Hinds County didn't want to pay cancer. Not because they were guilty or innocent, because their health care costs would break the system. So all of a sudden they were paroled, all of a sudden they were released because of medical costs. Because it costs $40,000, but more importantly, you wonder if these people get second chances. Your thoughts and your opinions, what I'm saying, if you were offered one, like I said, the reason I say 60 hours is that's what I work. And to be successful, I think you're going to have to work those hours, especially, you're coming from a hole, you've got to stop digging, but you've got to start doing things to get out of that hole. But two, would you be open to something where, if we're going to do it right, your last day of prison, you should be in an apartment, you should have a job. And that way you can transition, but thinking you're going to come around trying to survive and, parchment to typing, data entry in a computer system or answering the phones, to me is not realistic. Your thoughts, your opinion.
Well, some of the ideas they have now, because I wasn't in a position to sit and talk to people that had the power to do the things they do now. So I've been sitting in rooms with them and talk to them. Like I said, and talk to Burger King.
Now, who is he?
He is the super. I think super. He's the
head of MDLC.
The head man.
Head man. He came from Louisiana.
Right,
he was
and he showed me about this thing that I always said in my head that should happen.
Like what?
They getting skills. Actually going and working with people, working on cars, actually going over here in the place and paint and do all this type of stuff. That needs to happen.
More like a VOTEC, where they're learning how to be a painter.
That needs to have a couple with what you just said. See, if you give a person something positive to do, 9 times out of 10, a person that's in prison gonna do what's positive. Get what I'm saying?
Well, no, and see, and this is what and people think I'm being soft on crime. What you just said. If I take everything away from you, and you're a murderer, you're a rapist, and you're doing life, I can't do anything.
You can't do nothing to me.
But if I give you an opportunity to get some water, then I give you an opportunity to take water away. When you've got to give it a reward to have a punishment. when they act up, but once you stop everything, I hated the fact when they took away
The thing
Jim.
it's not a punishment, it's not a reward. You can't give somebody when you take something away. If I come and take a chicken off your plate that you want to eat, I got to put something to replace that. We talk the same language.
Exactly. Well,
So-
you got to give encouragement, hope,
Right.
or you're just creating,
Because people that get those skills, imagine this, people don't get those skills, if they're waiting an apartment and stuff like that, they will never come out and go back.
yeah, it's because they realize it's something more.
It's something more.
The scariest thing I've ever heard, Mr. Bill, I don't know if I've had friends, the people I consider friends, say, "Oh, you do good in Parchment. It ain't that bad." And that's exactly the face I had right there. Oh, hell no! I won't know. And they go, no. And I've had clients say,
Did you see his face?
exactly. Oh, I've had clients. No, get this. Hey,
That's
man,
good, baby.
you got to drive me to the police station. Why? Man, I got to go back in. And you're like, go back in where? I'm sitting there like, go back in where? He's like, dude, I'm a janitor out here in Parchment. I was number 2 running things. And you're like, you're talking about going back to Parchment? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, man, I go, why are we going to police stations? To hit a cop, it's a felony. He gets taken off paper and get thrown back in. I've had this conversation with people.
Institutionalized.
Yes. And you're sitting there like, oh, hell no. But I mean,
I'm dead to a point.
No.
Like, to a point. I like to be at home. I don't like to really. When I come out, it's to like this, to an event. I don't like to come hang like I used to when I was young. I like to go hang around with my friends, all that.
Now, how much is that? How old are you?
I'm 50.
I am 50 myself. How much of that's just being 50? How much is that you being still? You're a modern day. You're a mid-level celebrity in Jackson. Let's be yes. How much is that? Is people knowing you? Because like the other day I was somewhere and someone was just waving and they might be watching the show and I was like, what the hell are they waving? And you start doing that because you just don't know, and then you're like, oh hey, she watched the show, and I was like, thanks for watching the show.
I think more is just life. When you go through stuff in life, either you build something that you are constant inside of you to deal with certain things, because certain people build stuff knowingly.
Okay.
Like, okay, I didn't sit and say, oh, I'm going to stop hanging around my people, the ones I was hanging with. I just automatically stopped. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like I sat down and planned and made a blueprint about it. I was just like, man, I'm not feeling this.
Why were you not feeling it anymore?
I mean, after going to prison 4 times, being in training school 4 times, being locked up all your life, I hope to say why you feel certain ways.
Okay.
You have to listen to yourself.
We're running out of time. What are you doing currently, or what are you trying to do currently now that you're out of prison? And what are you trying to do now?
Now I stay plunged into community. I'm talking numerous work for the community. I got a nonprofit foundation along with a radio show, talk show. It's called Chance and Choice, for the people, by the people.
Now what time is that?
It's at 9 in the morning every Wednesday on WMPR. Y'all got to go out and vote for Wanda.
Wanda Evers.
Wanda Evers. She going for District 4. Yeah, I do a lot of that type of stuff now. Then on top of that, I do different jobs, and I never nail myself down to certain things because they might want me to go to New York and speak at an event about my life, and I'm natural about that because I ain't gotta lie. You see what I'm saying? So I try to keep myself known. I work for One Voice.
Now, what's One Voice?
That's a nonprofit organization where I do voter registration.
Okay.
So I keep myself busy, and that's what the average person out of prison gonna do. They gonna try to keep themselves busy because the outer mind is a devil's workshop. If you sitting around doing nothing, you're gonna think of something to do. You see what I'm saying? So, and especially if you already been indulged in that type of stuff.
Okay. Do you feel what percentage or how much influence, or you being African American and you being incarcerated, what percentage causation, correlation, what percentage do you put on? If you were white, do you think you still have the same, have lived the same life?
Well, when you say it like that, you have to think about it on different levels.
Okay.
And when I think about it, and I think about it deep, we would never be, in our minds, in our soul, in our spirit, we'll think we there. But we'll never be there as a people, as a culture. And when I say as a culture, like, say for instance, Korea,
Okay.
China, they got people over here, Afghanistan, Arabs, they got people got stoves and everything. The reason these situations are happening like this is because they come from where? They country. They recognize where? They country. So their country will speak. We might not hear this, but their country will speak and say, listen, you didn't treat our people right over here, so we ain't gonna give you no more oil. So America gonna treat their people right. But us as African America, the first name is Africa. That's where we ascended from. So until we be recognized for where we come from, for our people to speak up for us, just like every other country speak up for their people, that's when we'll be recognized. I'm a little deep now.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if that's
my
reality.
opinion.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
I don't know if
I'm
that's
just speaking my
reality.
opinion, man.
But okay, but you somewhat sidestepped the question. Do you feel that you were incarcerated or had a? Okay, let me ask you this: if you
I'ma
were doing the
say this.
same thing and was
when
a white
you do
man,
wrong, you get what you got coming to you. I took my lick, I take my lick, and I put it on my show all the time. Take your lick.
yeah,
So I
that
knew
means do your time for
do
your
your
crime.
time for what you did.
Okay.
You know, and I understand what you're doing. So like when I did my time, I took my lick. So I don't have to come even though people want to know if you're convicted, I shouldn't have to tell you I'm convicted every day when I went and did my time, did my probation time. They say that you're supposed to do your time and it's supposed to be over with. But it's never over with.
Never.
Your debt is never paid when you're convicted. People look at you when you come in a job to get that job, even though you might be qualified to do that job better than the person that's standing up. If you convicted, you might not get that job. Now tell me I'm lying.
No. I mean, look, and let me say this and say it, and I'll talk to them. I've had convicted people come on the show, come on this podcast as somebody I might be speaking specific. Certain people, they're convicted felons, and you're like, okay, whatever, I'll slap the hell out of you. Things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're someone. When I first met you, you carry weight where. Whether it's a CEO, whether it's a prominent physician, whether it's a prominent stockbroker, there's someone, a man of their convictions. You would fit that category. While other people, like I said, either they're hustlers or they're con men or something, they don't intimidate me. To a certain degree, I could see where if someone crossed you in a previous life, there would be retribution. Is that fair to say?
Well, I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
Well, anything anybody do, right? And I'm not sidestepping your question.
You kind of are, but that's fine. You kind of are, but that's
But
fine.
I would say in my past life, like the way I was living, yeah, you living in the streets, it is what it is. It ain't just me feel that way, it's the average person.
But all convicts don't have that, right?
And just be convicts. There's a lot of people in the streets not convicts.
No, but I mean, everybody's not about. I'm struggling with the words I want to get here, but what I'm saying is, but I would say the same thing about some police officers. I would say the same things that you earn respect with your presence,
Right.
and certain people do not, no matter where they come from or what they've gone through. How are you trying to use that in transitioning?
Oh, okay.
To a non-criminal life, and what are some of the issues that we who are not convicted felons do not know about that you deal with every day?
You know I wore this shirt over here so you can read. You see that shirt?
That's B.B. King.
B.B. King, right? And I'm gonna say this.
You know where B.B. King's from?
Who don't know what B.B.
I'm just asking. Do you know where
Yes.
he's from? Where is he from?
Mississippi.
No, where?
I don't know exactly.
Indianola, Mississippi.
You know that, don't you?
Because he's from the Delta.
Yeah.
He's from 30 minutes from Greenville.
Look,
Just keep
but I'm gonna say this.
recognize.
I just know. I'm messing with you.
Go ahead.
I always
Go
messing
ahead.
with you.
Go ahead.
But I do know he's from there.
You did not, but that's fine. You learned something. I'm learning something today. You're learning something. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Why'd you wear B.B. King?
I wrote B.B. King because of this right here. People got to pay attention to their history. Us as young people, people under me as young people. Got to pay attention to what's going on behind them. Know where you come from so you know where you're going. That's a problem. That's why a lot of our people lost. I'm talking my people, my black people, my young people. When I'm talking to them, I'm talking dead in the count. We lost. We got to do something other than that. We got to get out and vote. We got to make our voices heard. We got to get out and stand in front of the line and tell a person about us. We got to be recognized from where we come from.
Now, if people, and we're running out of time, I don't want to go over. I thought we'd get some more topics. Mr. Bill, I do apologize for you, but I didn't know this would be so interesting. If people want to contact you, Batman, to have you speak or to help you with your nonprofit, how do they contact you?
You can contact me at 601-402-1583. 601-402-1583. That's my personal number. You'll be talking to me.
Well, quickly, we've got about 3 more minutes and we're going to wrap up. I saw where police officers, Mr. Bill and Jackson, have dropped from 335 to like 100 and something. Your thoughts, your opinions, when you saw that, you being an educated, well-read man. Oh, I mean, you're probably the most well-read person on this panel. Yeah, at least more than I am. I don't know how Batman's reading. But what was your impression?
Yeah, Shay, look, what you think about the 1020 bill?
Okay, this ain't your show. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
What was your impression when you saw so many police officers? Article from WLBT is what I saw. Like 100 have left, or 135 maybe. What was your impression, and what should we do? You coming from bigger municipalities, what should we do to address that?
We're going to have to make our law enforcement more attractive, because there are other options. Because just stepping across the street and they get a dime more, those are our concerns, and it's basically incumbent upon our leadership how we approach our police department, because we just have to pay our people, period. We just can't get in the position and be in the position and not be efficient with our leadership and our responsibility to serve, because it dissipates, it goes. Mm-hmm. It don't stay the same. Nothing stays the same. We either move ahead or fall behind. We're not moving ahead, and the people have been making the same thing for years.
What was your opinion when you saw that we're 100 people short at JPD? Over 100.
Y'all run over there to Capital City Police. Want to keep it real? That's where they run. They give them more money to do what they doing. So he is exact on the point what he talking about. We got to make it more appealing, and we got to give them money.
But you
can't give money. You can't give money when you got the top. You got. I'm gonna tell you what I call the government. Our government, Mississippi government, and the condom. When you got the top squeezing, stopping the money, just because you don't like an individual, that ain't got nothing to do with. I don't like you, but I'm still gonna give you some water, Brent.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm still gonna do that.
There's a lady that gave a spiel. I believe she running for Secretary of State or Attorney General. She gave a spiel about the government of the state of Mississippi, and she was very profound with what she said as she talks about and analyzes the government and why she's running. I don't remember her name.
You wasted 3 minutes of my life saying all that. Say I don't remember her
I don't
name.
remember her name, but you can find out. You can find out.
We're going to end on that. We're going to invite Batman back to continue some of this conversation, but I did want to get some background on you. There were some questions I had, but thank you for coming by. Please make sure you tune into our shows. My shows tomorrow is 8 to 9, WNPR, the Richie and Hash Show, and your show. Follow
you take me to work out. Chance in the choice for the people, by the people, and me and Brett gonna be working out.
No, we're not, because once again, someone can figure out how to work out on their own. But anyway, it's the Brent Malcolm Show. Please remember to vote for Malcolm August 8th. We have a fundraiser on June 1st. If you'd like to attend, you can go to Malcolm's Facebook page. You can always donate money, but we'll be back next week. Thank you.